And Chizzuk. We started Chassidus and Chizzuk on Parsha Noach. We should be zoche to connect to all the deep teachings of our tzaddikim and to the teachings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the author of the Torah. So we're going to start off with the teaching about Eretz Yisrael. Why about Eretz Yisrael? Why are we starting off with Eretz Yisrael? Because we're in Eretz Yisrael. Ki Tziyon Teitei Torah, im eshkachi Yerushalayim tishkach yamini. Both of these things, we can't understand Torah unless we understand Eretz Yisrael first, and we can't learn Torah unless we think about Eretz Yisrael first as well. Both these concepts. Pass a sheet to Eli.
I don't understand that.
Okay. We say the Tziyon. Look at Tziyon. V'yomer aru Kanan eved avadim yeh la'achiv. So first of all, we have to understand the first concept in this pasuk is it sounds like Purim. Aru Kanan, Aru Haman, Aru Zeresh. So first of all, that just make us laugh. That's Hashem. V'yomer aru Kanan eved avadim yeh la'achiv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says Canaan is cursed and he's going to be a slave to his brothers. U'Kanan yaled et Tzidon, and Canaan gave birth to Tzidon. Katav Ramban. Veda, you should know. Ki Eretz Canaan glivulotera me'az hayta legoy. We know that until Eretz Yisrael came, Am Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael, it was in the hands of Goyim. However, we know that Eretz Yisrael is our Yerusha, it's our inheritance, and it's our right, it's our property. So how come it was in the hands of Goyim for so long? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu dispersed all the nations throughout the world, He gave Eretz Yisrael, He gave the land of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the nation of Canaan. Because Canaan was defined as an Eved, he was therefore given the tafkid and the opportunity to watch over Eretz Yisrael for Am Yisrael until we were able to come into the land. And let's say a person passes away and he has a young child who isn't mature enough and isn't smart enough to take care of his own money. So what do? We give it to a person who's going to be in charge of that money until the child gets older and he's able to take it over. So too, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave over the land of Eretz Yisrael to Canaan, because at that point Am Yisrael was nothing. There wasn't even Avram Avinu yet. There wasn't any. The concept of Yahadut still hadn't existed, and so therefore someone had to watch over Eretz Yisrael, the ultimate gift, the ultimate inheritance that we were supposed to get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, until Am Yisrael was able to receive it back. We'll get there. If Eretz Yisrael was given to another land, they would have a taina. They would have a claim to say that Eretz Yisrael is theirs, because why? They're not slaves. Someone who's not a slave, if he acquires something, it's considered theirs. I can't just go steal something. But if I give something to my slave, I can come back whenever I want and say, this is mine. Since Canaan, from the beginning of time, their whole tafkid of the world was to be slaves, they don't have any claim on the land. They never had a chazaka, they never had a claim, they never had a stake in the Eretz Yisrael. They were just guarding it for us, to sow and reap the land, to plant vineyards, and things that are similar to that. So what's the Tziyon saying? The Tziyon is saying it's very, very fitting and relevant for our time that we're discussing right now, especially going back one parsha to the first Rashi on the Torah, of Listimatem, that the nation is going to claim that we're stealing the lands from the people who are the other peoples of the world, but we're not. Because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu planned the whole world in the most perfect way, and He said Canaan is going to be slaves, and Canaan are going to be the ones. Eretz Canaan, it's the land which is in the property of Canaan. But Canaan, their whole essence, their whole metzius is that of being a slave, and a slave can't own anything. So who is the slave holding it for? They're holding it for Am Yisrael. So therefore, just a davar chazak from Parshas Noach and Eretz Yisrael that lest we think that Eretz Yisrael is not. If you ever have one of these horrible, disgusting thoughts that come into your head of maybe that part of the land we can give to them, maybe it's not ours, maybe they have a taina, they make a good claim. No, you should shut up, because the Ramban is telling you something very, very fascinating, that even at the beginning of time, even though the Goyim did have rule over the land, they had rule over the land in a way that a slave has rule over, or a lawyer has rule over a person's property until a person becomes mature enough to get it. It's a beautiful understanding on Eretz Yisrael from the Chassidus. Yeah.
Where's the Drishat Tziyon explanation start?
From Katav Ramban. So he's pretty much quoting the Ramban. The Tziyon B'derech Klal, he doesn't bring that much of a chiddush. Generally speaking, he's going to bring sources from everywhere. Rav Moshe Tzuriel, he spoke last year in the yeshiva. He knows everything about everything in the world. He sits and learns Kabbalah in his house in Bnei Brak all day. That's all he does.
So that whole paragraph is Ramban.
So that whole the Ramban and the Tziyon and Moshe Tzriel is explaining the Ramban. Okay, now we're going to get into some Chassidus. As Ari walks in, we're going to learn some Chassidus. Perfect! Thank you! Kedushas Levi, up until now we explained that Eretz Yisrael is ours no matter what. Period. I'll explain it to you better later. Kedushas Levi. The Levi Yitzchak B'ditcha, we zoche that the schus of the B'ditcha should be watching over us always. And therefore we have to understand his teaching as well. The pasuk et Elohim hitalech Noach, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Noach walked. Now, the Mefarshim, you look at every single commentary on this pasuk, you're going to have a different explanation. So whatever Kedushas Levi says, I know this is coming from his own opinion, this is coming from his own way, so don't think, oh, it's not Pshat, it doesn't mean anything. Watch this. Kolomar, what does this mean to say? Noach halach im Elohim. Noach went with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What the heck does that mean, Kedushas Levi? Dehainu, meaning, shelo hayalu koach lahafoch midas hadin l'rachamim. Oh, just introduction to this piece. I don't know if I understand this piece properly. It very well could be that I'm completely understanding it in a way that the Kedushas Levi had no intention to mean it, and therefore if I'm wrong, it's not the Kedushas Levi, it's me. But I think it's a beautiful idea. Shelo hayalu koach lahafoch midas hadin l'rachamim. Noach Hatzadik, I guess. Noach Hatzadik didn't understand how to take. Thank you. Good? Okay. Noach didn't understand how to take the midah of din, the harsh judgment, and flip it into a place of rachmim, of mercy, of loving judgment. Of loving, yeah. But by Avram and Yitzchak ktiv, Elohim asher hitalchu avotai lefanav, the God who they walked in front of, who our forefathers walked in front of. Klomar, what does that mean? Shehem hayu lifnei midas hadin. They stood in front of the midah of din. They didn't walk with the midah of din. They walked in front of it. What does that mean? Ki hayav lehem koach lahafoch midas hadin l'rachmim. They had, in terms of the way that they approached Judaism, the way they approached the world, they acquired an ability that they could change the midah of din into rachmim. I'm going to explain hopefully explain this in a way that we can understand this. They were able to flip the midah of din, of judgment, of harsh judgment, into rachmim, of mercy. And therefore, they were a bechina of walking in front of Elokim. The Mefarshim ask the question all over the place. What was Noach's problem? How come B'dorasav was he good only B'dorasav? It's a whole pilpul of what was he considered really. Was he really a good person? Was he just a nice person, but if you compared to other tzaddikim, not? So seemingly, he was a great person B'dorasav, but he didn't do the real avoda because it doesn't start from Noach, it starts from Avram. So what's the difference? So over here, the Kedushas Levi is telling us there's a midah, there's a specific trait that a person can do, that a person can acquire in order to reach the level where they're zocha to be an av, to be a leader of a generation, of a people, of an am. A midah that with Noach didn't have. What's that midah? So I'm not 100% sure if this is pshat in the Kedushas Levi, but I think you can read it into what he's saying. A lot of times it's very easy. What happened with Noach? Noach, Kosh Baruch comes, he says, your world stinks. Everyone's stealing, everyone's doing bad things, the animals are doing bad things because the people are doing bad things, and the people are doing bad things because the animals are doing bad things, and it's a whole big circle of gross, and theft, and burglary, and lust, and therefore I have to destroy the world. So, Noach sees the midah of din, he sees this harsh judgment, he says, I have nothing I can do about it, because it's midah of din. Right? Whereas opposed to Avram Avinu is betoch hayir. Avram Avinu says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I can't let Sodom be destroyed. I have to go to Sodom, and I'm going to take the midah of din of you wanting to destroy Sodom, and I'm going to flip it. I'm going to do anything that I possibly can in my hand and in my power to make sure that midah of din, that judgment, doesn't happen. To make sure that midah of judgment doesn't happen. And therefore, Avram Avinu is considered the midah of rachamim. He's able to take din and make it into rachamim. How does it have anything to do with our lives? So, at least the most Haskell you can take from the Kedushas Levi is that it's very easy for us to receive facts. We have many different parts of our body that receive facts. We have our eyes, we have our ears, we have our mouth that reads things to us. We're constantly reading facts. No, our nose does not read facts. I'll tell you exactly why our nose does not count in this. I'll tell you exactly why. Just give me 1 second to clarify the concept. It's very easy for us to take these facts at face value and view it as din. Oh, that person over there, he's not wearing tzitzis, therefore he must be above. That person over there, and even about myself. Let's forget about other people. Right? Let's think about myself. I can take facts about myself. Someone just said, oh man, Yonah Friedman stinks. My payas are fine the way they are.
It's your video.
when I look at myself, when someone tells me something about myself, I could either say, oh, you're right, you know what? My whole high school career, my entire life, they've been saying, oh, that guy's a Leighton, he's a clown, he's a joker, he's not serious, he doesn't even care about God. And I can say, okay, midas adin, they're giving me judgment, they're saying something about me, and I can't flip it. Your whole high school career, let's say, probably you not, because you're a big tzaddik. But let's just say, chas v'shalom, your whole entire life, someone comes and say, oh man, that guy stinks at basketball. That guy doesn't know how to learn Gemara. That guy, he comes from a disgusting family and a disgusting person and X, Y, Z, on and on and on. So I can take these midas, I can take these things that people are saying about me, and I could leave it at face value. That's what Noach does. Noach says, oh, yep, this is a fact, and that's all it is. Midas adin, I can't change it. So Noach was great because he was the best of his generation. But why didn't he start the Jewish people? Because he didn't do what Avram does. What does Avram do? Avram takes that fact, he says, oh man, they're saying something bad about me. So what am I going to do to make sure that that's rachamim? What about me is actually good? Rabbi Nachman talks about that concept of Nakuda Tova, finding a good point within yourself. You get into a place of a down point, like, oh man, I don't really feel so great about my life because I haven't been doing so great in yeshiva, I haven't been doing so good in school. So the avoda of a person is to view themselves and say, you know what, really, a couple days ago I did a great chesed. I went to the old age home, I went to Allah, I helped special needs people, I did this, I did that. I find something good. I said thank you to my mother for dinner. I said, whatever it is, you find a good point. That's the midah of Avram. The midah of Avram is to take whatever is negative in the world, and no matter how negative it sounds, flip it on its side and say, oh, it's a positive thing. That's the midah of Avram. So I think that might be what the Kedushas Levi is saying. What? Would Avram have argued for Amalek? That is a fascinating question. I have no clue. How's that for an answer? Okay, good. Would Avram have fought for Amalek? I would assume no. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, it's a mitzvah, but he also gave mitzvah kills no. Not right now, but great question. How come this doesn't apply to our nose? Because our nose only takes neshama. Our nose is completely spiritual, and therefore anything coming into it can only be good. That's it. That's what the Kedushas Levi. I think that's what the Kedushas Levi is saying. We have to realize we have to take the negative facts that we receive from the world and flip it into the good. That's the Kedushas Levi will come.
Could have taken that the world and turn out to that he was really like showing that you should get the people rather than like really all about it.
Yeah, Rav Shlomo Carlebach says HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm going to come destroy the world right now. I'm coming to do something. I'm going to come do something. Share with them. I'm going to come and destroy the world right now and build a boat. But what's that? This is what Rav Shlomo explains. Rav Shlomo Carlebach. He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all he wanted from Moshe, all he wanted from Noach was just to say, okay, I'm going to destroy the world. Now daven for them. Here's your cue. But he didn't do it. But really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to destroy the world. He said, daven for them now. No. We're going to get to it. But Moshe Rabbeinu, on the other hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and says, I'm going to destroy your whole nation. I'm going to destroy all of Am Yisrael. But what happens? He says, Nechaina, destroy me. Don't destroy them. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu saves them. That he hit the most steps of the people. Now, we're going to come back to this concept in a little bit. Baal Shem Tov. I'm not sure how this applies to the Parsha yet. Oh, Gevaldik. It's very important. Good. Lights just turned off. Okay. The Baal Shem Tov explains the mashal. I don't know exactly how it ties into the Parsha yet. Lights turned off. Azov, we're learning Torah now in the dark, like we're in Teiman. How's for you, Jordan? Mashal Na'eh. Here's a story. It's a beautiful mashal, beautiful parable. Sha'amar Maran HaKadosh Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. Oh! Schus Yagen Aleinu. His schus should be watching over us always. Kavaldik. Here we go. Baal Shem Tov. Sha'adam Ba'alach L'chanut. A yid goes to a store. Alright, you go to a store. Sheyesh b'kama minei mat'amim u'ma'adanim. Has all these beautiful, tasty candies. Ari Green goes to the candy store. The new book, the new kids book. Mitchila, listen, here it goes. Mitchila noten lo bal hachanut lit'om ma'at mikomin. So the yid walks into the candy store and look at all the candy. So what's the owner of the store do? You want to taste? You taste of this one and taste of this one until he finally gets that right candy. I'll take. I worked at Ben & Jerry's for 2 years. How do we get people to buy ice cream? You come to the store, you can taste all the flavors you want. We don't stop you. Taste them all. Because eventually you're going to get to that one flavor, you're like, ooh, I want some of that candy. So what happens? I feel like I'm at a bonfire. It's great. So what happens? The Baal candy store, he's giving the yid a taste of candy, and he's like, "Oh, can I have some more?" That's back inside. Shiyada malik note, so he can know what to buy. The Yid sees, he tastes it, he goes, oh, this is sweet and it's good. We'll tell you to him, oh, he wants to taste more. Oh, mimlo. What's the Baal HaChanut? What's the store? And we say, Kaneh lecha bedamim. Buy with your own money, you bum. Ki b'chinam ain't nothing kan klum. We don't give anything for free. The taste you can have for free. But to really acquire it, you got to buy it with your money. You're seeing what the teaching, the Noach is a beautiful teaching. Beautiful teaching. And it involves candy and Ben & Jerry's, so it's better. V'hanimshal. What do we learn from this? This is very important for the time we're right now. Right, we just came off of Bein Hazmanim, off of Chagei Tishrei, of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, Rosh Hashanah Rabbah. Mamish, lights are coming down from everywhere. And we're like, oh, I want more of that candy. I want that candy. I want it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, now you got to pay for it. It was free up until now. It was so easy. You come Rosh Hashanah, you come Yom Kippur, you come Simchas Torah, you come Sukkot, and it's like, ooh, free candy. I love it. And you're like, you're in a bath full of candies. And then all of a sudden, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, now it's time to be real. Time to be really good. You want the candy? You got to pay for it. When a person feels this light, when a person feels this beauty of the world, and the Baal Shem Tov says of Chassidus and of Torah, he's able to cover, he's able to push down all the evil of the world. He's able to take everything in the world and bring it back to Tachlis HaTov. This is exactly like the Kedusha Levi is saying. Beautiful. Thank you, Hashem, for this. How are we supposed to want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu if He didn't give it to us first? I don't know if I want a sour stick because I never had it. So Mr. Pasquez, give me a free sour stick. Okay, take. Now I want the whole store of Pasquez. Right? That's how it works. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the same way. He gave us a taste of what it means to do Rosh Hashanah, to do Tshuva. He gave us a taste of what it means to be Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah, to do Tshuva and Kippur, to be Mesameach with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Sukkot. The trifecta of greatness of Ava, Yir, and Simcha. But now I want more. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, can I have more? Oh, Mar Cheshvan. It's so boring. It's so sad because there's no Chag. No! Rome Cheshvan. It's the raising up of Cheshvan. The Chassidim tell us it's not mar, it's not bitterness. It's Rome Cheshvan, it's the raising up of Cheshvan. Why? Because when I work for it, it's that much sweeter. Let's finish the piece in Baal Shem Tov. V'hiyeh nishar bo rishimo shemistalkin mimenu b'chinos elu sheyeda malach hapes. The whole purpose of that time of Tishrei, of the Chagim, is that when a person comes to that tkuf in his life of Cheshvan, mar, when it becomes mar Cheshvan, when it's bitter and all of those feelings have left him, you're able to take the mar, the bitterness, and flip it into Rome of loftiness. Why? Because I know what I'm looking for. I know that taste, that Ben & Jerry's ice cream that I loved. Ooh, I don't remember what it was called, but I remember it was chocolate, and it had something that tasted like a cookie in it. Oh, you want that flavor? I remember there was something that tasted so good, it sounded like this niggin, and we sang it by this point in Tishrei. Oh, it was Mar Kohen, let's sing Mar Kohen. So you sing Mar Kohen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to give us the tastes in order for us to want it more. But you come this time and you think, oh, it's the beginning of Chorisman, it's the beginning of whatever tkufa you're in, and you feel empty, you feel lost because there's nothing going on. So what are you supposed to do? Go back. Go back for 3, 4, 10 days. Back to Sukkot. And the Bnei Yisrael tells us, Merachshin, the whispers, Mirmurim, the Mirmurim of Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan, Mashim Mirmur, to whisper. That throughout Cheshvan we're just whispering the songs of Tishrei. We're whispering the feelings. It's just coming through, because that gets us to that point. So Baal Shem Tov is telling us, you want to be a real Eved Hashem? You want to really koness, you want to really acquire a place with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a place that you can really sit and bathe in the drippy Ziv Shechina of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The trick is just tap back into Tishrei. Go back to that place. Go back to that davening. Go back to your tefillah where you finally connected. Go back to that first time you felt like you connected something. Go back to your Nisana Tokev. Go back to your sukkah. Go back into those places and bring it to where you are right now. That's what the Baal Shem Tov was telling us. You go into the candy store, we give you for free once, maybe twice. But you really want to become a real Jew, you really want to become what it is real, so you got to really pay for it. You got to try it. You have to do it by yourself. But what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to look for? I look at my past experiences. That also for the negative. If I don't know what I want to be, I don't know what I want to be stopping, and what am I working on? So what do I want to work on? I'm going to go back to high school. I'm going to go back to where I was. What was negative in my life, and what did I change? For both sides. Chazara, really quickly. Tziyon. Tziyon told us that we should never think or have a chashash that Eretz Yisrael was not ours. Yes, there is a fact that there were goyim living in Eretz Yisrael, but what is Eretz Yisrael called before Am Yisrael comes into it? Eretz Canaan. Who is Canaan? The pasuk says, "V'yomer our Canaan eved avadim yeh la'achiv." Canaan is a slave, and therefore, even though Canaan was in Eretz Yisrael, he was just a shomer. He was watching it for us, like a lawyer watches money for his client. But now that we're here, it's ours, behechlet, with no doubt, and you should never let anyone tell you otherwise. That's the Tziyon. The Kedushas Levi told us that why was Avram zochet to become the Av of the Goyim, and Noach was just Ish Tzadik Tamim Haya B'Doratav, because he wasn't able to take the world and view it in a beautiful light. He wasn't able to find Nekuda Tova, the good point in your life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the world needs to be destroyed. He didn't say, oh, but what about that beautiful thing? He just said, okay, destroy the world. Anbinu said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're destroying Sodom. He said, but what about that one yid? If there's 50, if there's 40, if there's 35, 20, what about 10? 1 yid, if there's one guy there that's good, can you save it? He says, I won't save it, but you can save that yid. But Lefachot, he was trying to find that good point. That's the Kedushas Levi. And Baal Shem Tov with this beautiful mashal about the candy store, that we come into the world, we start off our life with the beautiful tastes of Kedusha, but it's not for free. We have to work for it. It's not going to come for free. We always ask, I don't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have a hard time davening. I have a time to... Have you ever tried to learn? Have you ever tried it? Find the time that you loved it and then try to figure out why it's not continuing. I'll tell you why it's not continuing. Because we're not trying. We're not investing into it. And that's what the Kedushas, that's what Baal Shem Tov is telling us. So B'ezrat Hashem Yishzochet, that the derech of Baal Shem Tov, the derech of the Torah HaKadosh of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the derech of Kol HaTzadikim, and b'schus ourselves that we're over here being Moshe Nefesh, that we're trying to do it. B'schus all of our schiyot, we should be able to take all these deep teachings and really making it an etzem part of our life, and through that become on the closest levels to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and through that see the Gula, the Krova, B'meir V'yameinu.